Well, hey, everybody, and welcome back to Early Childhood Chats, the podcast. Andy Roszak with you as always. And today we're talking about something that goes well beyond what we usually think about and, quite frankly, doesn't get enough attention, right? It's called joy. It's joy. It's not a buzzword, it's not something on a poster in a classroom somewhere, but it's really a living part of what it means to work in this field and stay in this field, right? So today we're going to be talking about all sorts of things that we can do to increase that level of joy in our classrooms. I've got some really awesome guests today. I'm super excited. I've got Marisa Macy. She's a full professor at the University of Wyoming. I believe that's where Pistol Pete lives, if my memory serves correctly. But she's been over 25 years in the field. She's got a certificate from Harvard in the Early Childhood Leadership Program, which I also attended and can't say enough great things about. But she's really thinking about how we prevent that burnout, right? And rediscover joy of learning together. So she'll be talking about all the things that she's been up to. And again, I'm not doing their bios justice. I'm going to have them introduce themselves in a minute. We've also got Amy Reyes-Hauff, is an early learning specialist with the Wyoming Department of Education and the founder of Get Wild Wyoming, which I can't wait to talk about as well. Thank you very much for being here, both of you. I really appreciate your time today, and of course, all the work you're doing in the field. You guys are absolute rock stars, and it's a real pleasure to get to talk to you today. So I will start with Amy. Amy, I'm sorry I didn't do your bio justice at all. Can you introduce your folks properly and tell everybody what you're all about?
Not a problem at all, Andy. Thank you so much for having me today. Amy Reyes-Hauff. I'm with the Wyoming Department of Education. I work as the state early learning specialist. I have been in early childhood education for almost 27 years now. Started my career very early, working at Head Start, and moved over to Montessori, and then moved into state government, and have worked in early childhood education the entire time. Have always made the space and made the priority for finding joy in the work. So I'm very excited to be here today.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being here. I can't wait to pick your brain on a bunch of stuff. And Marissa, please say hi to folks and give yourself a proper introduction, not a butchered one like I did.
Well, thank you, Andy. And it's a pleasure to be here today with you, Amy, and your listeners. Uh, I started my career in special education and I loved it. And I eventually went back and got more training. And now I have the best job in the world because I get to focus on workforce development. And so my job is to prepare the workforce for serving children and their families. So
Oh,
thank you
it's
for having me
amazing.
today on Early Childhood Chats podcast, and I'm excited for our conversation.
Absolutely. Well, we're excited that you're here. And I've got to say that the talent that you two bring is just phenomenal. And I mean, gosh, Amy, you look at your career, I think you've done it all, right? Assistant teacher, Head Start director, Montessori, and now statewide work in Wyoming. What have you been seeing out there in the field? You're in the trenches on this. What's causing all this burnout, and why is joy so hard to chase and to capture in our field?
And this is going to sound really terrible, but I think we are losing the focus on play-based learning and all that goes into it and just having fun while playing, right? There's a strong pressure on academics. And along with that becomes the burnout and everything else that just spirals after it. So if we concentrate on play-based learning and just letting kids play, and then the academics will come after that, folks will continue to find that joy that's involved in it. And so over the years, the strong pressure for those academics is what I've continued to see, with the expectations changing and the unhappiness that's continuing to happen in the classrooms.
And I know, Marissa, you've done a lot of research on the topic, early childhood teacher shortages and erosion of joy and all that kind of good stuff. What are you seeing as some of the root causes behind the symptoms that we see here? Is this a structural issue? Is it a management issue? Is this, I'm afraid I have to teach to this curriculum and can't be creative and can't go outside the box? What are you seeing out there with all the research you've been doing?
Well, I think it's different for each person. And I would agree with what Amy was saying about play. And I think a lot of people come into the field because they're excited to work with children and families. And then, like you said, there's structural things that are part of the system that can be a challenge to overcome. But I was just right now we're on summer vacation. My semester is over, and I am starting to prepare a class for my fall semester. And I'm going to be teaching a class that has a fieldwork component. And so this week, and Amy knows where I was because we work in a lot of the same circles. I was at this amazing program where there's very little turnover. The director has been there since 1984, and every classroom that we went into, she would say, and that teacher's been here 18 years, and this teacher's been here 13 years. And what I saw when I was there, it was my first time there, and my students are going to be doing field placements in this place. And what I saw was very high quality because it's a NACE accredited program, but people seem to love their job. And I think back to what CEO Steve Jobs said. He said, in order to do great work, you got to love what you do. And if you can't find that love, keep looking because life is too short. And if you don't love what you're doing, find something because we are only on this planet for a short time, and we deserve to be happy. Our children and families deserve to be happy. Our coworkers deserve to be happy. We know about mirror neurons and how contagious people's attitudes are. And if we go to work in a bad mood, that's going to affect so many more people than just us. And then when we go home to our families and our personal life, we go home upset or mad. It really does make a huge difference. And so I would echo what Amy said about play, that's one of the ways that we can get back in tune and manifest the joy through play and other things too. I can talk later about some ideas that I have.
I mean, absolutely. That negativity breeds negativity, it seems. And gosh, nothing worse than being stuck in a classroom with another teacher who's just negative Nancy all day long, right? Nobody wants to work in that environment.
That's right.
I mean, gosh, luckily the times that's happened in my life have been very few, but that makes for a long day if you've got somebody that's just doom and gloom all day, doesn't it?
Mhm.
Amy, you've talked a lot about nature as a reset, and I wonder if you could kind of expound. Now, you're in Wyoming. You've got some beautiful country out there. I'm a little jealous. Out here on the East Coast, we don't have nearly the scenic postcards that you guys have. But what have you been doing with this outdoor and nature-based learning and all that kind of stuff? From what I understand, you're seeing it not only as a great opportunity for the kiddos, but also as kind of an opportunity for the adults too, right?
It's wonderful. When I created the program about 2.5 years ago, we specifically targeted children that were on plans for expulsion, targeting those children that were struggling in those classroom settings, in those four-wall classrooms, and on plans and those trajectories for expulsion. And yes, although that is still the expectation, what I did not expect is the improvement in the teachers. Teachers are coming to me and saying, Amy, I'm a better teacher from being outside, from being able to go outside of my four-wall classrooms, because a lot of times these classrooms are in the basements of dark, dingy buildings, right? We work in childcare and ECE sites that don't have this enormous amount of funding. And so we're taking the buildings and the sites that we can get that are sometimes in these buildings in the basement that don't have the natural light and everything else. And so teachers are coming to me and they're saying, I'm a better teacher for it. I'm a more patient teacher for it, because guess what? In an outdoor learning setting, I don't have to say, stop yelling, use your inside voice, any of those things. I don't have to say that 150 times a day. And I'm able to feel the sun against my skin and soak up that vitamin D and hear the birds chirping above me. And I'm able to self-regulate my own emotions, which makes me a better teacher. And so in turn, we're creating this ecosystem, teachers and students, through outdoor learning that's really working in Wyoming.
Well, and certainly if you've got the opportunity to go out and do that with your program, I mean, please like take full advantage of it. I always
Yep.
get, I don't know what the right word is, ladies, but I get I don't know. I don't know what the right word is, but I get maybe a little concerned, or I get disgruntled is not the right word. I just get concerned because a lot of these programs in New York City, they have no outdoor space. They have no
Mhm.
outside playground. They have no opportunity to really get out. And quite frankly, some of the Head Start programs in New York, you wouldn't want to necessarily take the kids outside of the four walls of the building. So, um, and not to pick on New York, there's other areas of the country that are the same way, of course. But you do think about those programs that have that opportunity to get out and really enjoy nature and go on the community walks and all that. And what an absolute blessing to be able to do that as well. So, I'm thinking a lot about just how do we increase recruitment and retention and make people want to stay in our field and not lose that spark, that initial joy that they have when they first join. And I'd love to hear some of your thoughts on it. Marissa, you're shaking your head. I think you got some good ideas there. What do you think about all this? How do we, I mean, look, we're kind of capped, right? Like I can only pay you so much, right? I don't have unlimited money. So are there other things that I should be thinking about with, maybe ways I can motivate you or appreciate you or make your experience as an employee much better than it currently is?
Yes, that I love what you said there about motivation and recognition. Uh, I grew up in a bilingual home, and we spoke Italian. My grandparents stayed with us for a long time, and they didn't speak any English. So in Italian, we have this phrase, "la dolce vita," and basically, what "la dolce vita means life. So we create a resume or a curriculum vita, and that's our life, our work life. We put our work life in that curriculum vita. And when we think about the curriculum vita, joy should be part of that. When you go down and look at all those dates on your curriculum vita and you see like where you've been and what you've done, hopefully you're like really proud of yourself and you are happy. And so la dolce vita means the happiness or sweetness of life, being happy with life. And and we can do this in a lot of different ways. And I have three things that I try to do with my own curriculum vita. Is the first one is kind of like what Amy was talking about with just getting out into nature and moving. There's another Italian phrase called la passeggiata. And in Italian culture, if you go to Italy and around in the afternoon, people will go for a leisurely stroll. They might stop for an ice cream or gelato. They might see their friends in the piazza and connect with people that they know or want to know and go meet new people in the stores. But La Passeggiata doesn't have to be done in Italy. We could create our own little piazza and our own little community by going for walks with people, with our children, with our coworkers during our lunch break. So that's one. La Passeggiata is one way to have the sweetness of life. Get out, move, be with people. Another one, oh, and by the way, I think what you were saying about, limitations with resources, uh, one way that I've experimented with is experiential learning on location. For quite a few years now, I've been going with teachers to Reggio Emilia, Italy, and it's like a
Wow.
study abroad. And so we have pre-service teachers who haven't gone into the field yet for employment, but maybe they're doing field work. And then also in-service professionals, where we go and we learn about uh, a different approach. And one of my students, she and I, we did a presentation once at an autism conference, and her mom came to see our session. And her mom said, I've been coming to this conference for the last 32 years. And, every once in a while I get a new idea, but if I could go on location to Italy and learn about the Reggio Emilia approach, or, get out of my everyday life and go learn on location someplace, that would be really life changing for me, transformative. And one of the people that I've traveled with in the past, she was a director, and she said, I think it's probably cheaper to send a brand new teacher or to send someone to Italy than it would be for all the onboarding to bring a new person onto the uh, to work. And I thought that's going to be a future study. I want to learn the economics and find out, would it really be cheaper to send somebody to Italy or on location than it would be to do this. So anyway, I think learning on location and experiential learning doesn't even have to be going to another country. I used to do this when I was a new teacher with one of my cousins. She taught in another school district, and she and I, during our spring break, would swap. I would come to her school, she would come to mine. We would watch each other teach, give each other feedback. So it doesn't have to be formal or, go to another country, although that's really awesome if you could do that. But get out of your own classroom and go see other classrooms, go see other ways of doing things. You bring back ideas and it can revitalize your practice. So anyway, La Passeggiata can be every day going for a walk, or like going for a big walk or walkabout, as the Australians might say, and like really get out and go see some cool things. Another idea is buon appetito. In Italian culture, part of La Dolce Vita is eating really good food. And I think that not enough can be said about food and meal times and routines that nourish our mind, body, and spirit. And then the last thing is dolce far niente. I wrote this all down because this is going to be my next paper, you guys.
I love it.
And the last one is dolce far niente, and in Italian, that's part of the good life too. Is just niente means nothing, and dolce is the sweetness of doing nothing. And it doesn't mean like do nothing and just sit on the couch all weekend. I mean, if that's what makes you happy, do it. But it could be, just taking it easy, recharging your batteries, going and doing something that's playful and joyful. When I moved here to Wyoming, one of the things that I really wanted to do was to learn to ski because skiing really scares me, and we have mountains all around us. And I thought that is going to be my dolce far niente. When I want to play, I'm going to try to find out like what is this, idea of skiing and playing out in the snow. And so I think whatever it is for you, however you want to define dolce far niente, we all need to stop and slow down and enjoy life, because that really is la dolce vita, when we really want to make a good life for ourselves. La vita is beautiful and sweet when we can slow down and eat good food, go for walks with our friends, and spend time focusing on what makes us happy.
I love it. Grazie, as they say. Grazie,
Yeah.
right? My Italian's a little rusty, but yeah. I mean, you're making me hungry too, by the way. What a great perspective. What a bunch of great ideas. And we all we work in a service industry. We have to be cognizant of compassion fatigue and burnout and all the things, right? And, many folks know I was a firefighter for 10 years, and all those things were true in that profession as well. Like, you are literally putting yourself kind of on the line at the front line, and you absorb all that emotion. And that's a good thing because you care a lot. And you obviously entered this field for a particular reason, but over time, those stresses do add up, and you find yourself kind of carrying the burden of others. And it's something you do have to be cognizant of, right? And plan for. You can't, if you're not your best, then you're not going to be helping people the best of your abilities. So, put that own oxygen mask on first, as we say on the airplanes, is really important. And I'm wondering, Amy, with your experience, especially leadership wise, how big of a role does it play from the director or for the leadership of an organization to help instill some of this? I mean, a lot of what Marisa was talking about, it's really kind of a culture of the organization, isn't it?
It is. And actually, as Marisa was speaking, I couldn't help but think about, as we're making these connections to Mr. Rogers, how Mr. Rogers loved people exactly as they were in the moment. He didn't require perfection. But unfortunately, teachers are drowning in this perfectionist culture, right? Fueled by curated classrooms on social media. And so teachers have this pressure, like you have to have this Pinterest perfect classroom or this Pinterest perfect setting, when you just need to be present, regulated, authentic, all those things at the same time. And so it doesn't matter what your neighbor across the street's classroom looks like. It doesn't matter if their classroom isn't messy or whatever it is. Just find the joy. And as a director, if you're walking into a classroom and everything is perfect and it's not messy, something's probably wrong, especially in an ECE setting. There should be some controlled chaos going on. And so embrace the mess. I think about, the quote that the world needs the best that you have to offer, and it's a mutual thing. You catch the joy of being alive as you give it to others. And so as a teacher, if you remember that, and it's about the process and not the product, just concentrating on that. But as a director, it's really hard to remember those things because, oh man, licensing could show up at any minute, or the parents could show up at any minute, and they're going to see this chaos that's going on in the classroom. But making sure that they understand that as well, because it's part of the process. And that's where you find that joy at.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good point. And, look, it doesn't have to be picture perfect. It can be messy. It can be fun. It's early childhood, right? We're supposed to be exploring and having fun and having a good time and making messes and all the above, right? So, don't beat yourself up too bad, I guess, is a big point. Like everyone needs to be doing the best they can, but recognize that sometimes there's limitations. I was just talking to a program that went through the whole Itters-Eckers stuff, and they were so distraught. But the bottom line is when you're looking at like environmental factors, either I have a window in my classroom or I don't,
Mm-hmm.
right? And whether Itters and Eckers comes and grades me today or 10 years from now, I'm probably not going to have a window in that classroom, right? There's only so much I can do. I can't take a sledgehammer and just start tearing down walls, right? But, to your point earlier, like sometimes we're kind of dealt with the hand we're dealt with, and we're in the basement of a church or we're in an old building that used to be I don't know, a shopping mall or something else. And that's kind of what we have to work with. So, embrace it, make it your own, make it fun, make it the best you can do, but recognize that, and you guys have been doing this longer than me. I'm about a decade in. I've been to classrooms all over the world. I've never seen one that looks the same. I mean, quite frankly, I've never seen one Head Start program that's even the big ones, the Bright Horizons, the Goddard Schools, the Leaf Springs, the Kiddie Academies. Every location's a little bit different, isn't it? So you don't have to like try to have a measuring stick and be the measure of perfection, I guess is what I'm trying to say, because it's probably a hard thing, if not impossible, to attain, right?
And I always try to remind everybody that, especially when it comes to outdoor learning, it shifts the teacher from this exhausted performer to almost like a co-explorer, right? You're not having to put on a show. Nature provides the curriculum in front of you. If you take kids outside to observe these ecosystem, your job changes from managing the behavior to asking questions like, what do you notice? What do you wonder about XYZ? And it removes that immense pressure on the teacher's vocal cords and that mental energy that prevents that burnout.
Do you feel like, it's a good point, and it just, Amy, it breaks my heart when I go out to dinner and I sit down and I see the family next to me and they got the 2-year-old, the 5-year-old, the 10-year-old. They're all sitting there with their screens in front of them, right? And they're not even having a family dinner. They're not even engaging. They're just watching these screens. Do you feel like that kind of culture is making it harder for our teachers in the classroom?
Absolutely. Marisa knows that this is my jam. And so I could talk for days on digital tech addiction and what that looks like and what's happening to our little children's brains. And what's happening is these 10-second feeds and these dopamine hits that are coming from it. And they're sitting at the table and they're just getting fed more information and more information in these hits and these loops and everything else. And then when they leave there and they go into a classroom setting, it's almost impossible to compete with
Yeah.
that pressure anymore. It's awful. And so they're not entertained by the things like a story being read to them or any of those activities in a traditional classroom anymore. And so we're really trying to remediate some of that damage that's being done with digital tech. The same thing happens to me. My heart breaks when I look over and the entire family's on their phones and or you see a 3-year-old being pushed in a stroller at a zoo or an aquarium with an iPad in front of them. It breaks my heart because in a moment where oral language is on the decline so much and behavior is on the incline so much, we can remediate a bunch of that by just removing the devices.
Yeah.
But we just have to make sure everybody knows about how to balance it and how to do digital tech and balance it in a safe manner.
Well, and I've heard the same from so many teachers. They say, Andy, this is what these kids know, all night and all weekend. How in the world can I compete against this in my classroom? Because I'm not putting on the 10-second scroll and the, Instagram and the TikTok, and which maybe mom and dad are doing and they don't even realize it. But guess what? Those little kiddos, they're watching you every minute. And if mom's on the phone scrolling, 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 the kid's kind of taking in some of that too, right?
Yep, they're emulating exactly what they see. And, I think about that meme that says, how do you get your child to read? Because that's what they see. But if they see the scrolling, 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 that's what they do as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really something. I mean, there's a reason why Steve Jobs didn't let his kids have phones until they were 18, I think, right? I mean, there's some real
Exactly.
science behind all that. Marissa, talk about the engagement and your collaboration with the Fred Rogers Institute. That's really exciting stuff that you guys have got going on.
Yes, so Amy and I are going to be doing a presentation on this same topic at the Fred Rogers Institute in July. We're going to be talking about adding joy back into our work, and so yeah, that's an exciting thing we're going to be doing. Amy, did you want to say anything about it?
Um, the main reason why we came up with this topic in the first place is just to sort of address the elephant in the room by validating the audience and how this isn't a personal failure or a lack of resilience. This is a systematic issue that's larger than any of us. And we want to be able to recognize that, but also provide some solutions that can be taken into the classroom immediately after watching our presentation. Both Marisa and I have worked in this field, and so it's super important to us that we are able to provide professional development that's usable, actionable items that, nothing's worse than sitting in a professional development session and you're like, this doesn't pertain to me whatsoever. That is not our intention. And so we are really excited to provide some real world actionable items.
I
Yeah,
love it. I
so
love it.
our
Go ahead. I didn't mean
so
to cut you off. Go ahead.
Oh, no worries. So we're going to be sharing ways to support one another with workforce wellness in our conversations that we have. And one of the things that Fred Rogers would say is, um, anyone who helps and works with a child is a hero. And I think in anyone, and there'll probably be a lot of people there from the helping professions, but really what we'll be talking about is just really anyone who has children in their life to be joyful. It could be grandparents, it could be family members, friends. But when we smile and when we are kind, that was another thing that Fred Rogers really focused on was kindness. We can uh, model for children what kindness and caring looks like. And one of the things that he did on his show was he was honest with children. And I think we can take a lot of leadership ideas from Fred Rogers. And one of the things that he did was he had the make believe part of the show, and then he had reality. And in reality, we would see him walk through the door. He would put his sweater on that, by the way, his mom made those beautiful hand knit sweaters.
I
And
didn't
he would
realize
change.
that his mom made those.
Yes,
Wow,
yes.
what a fun fact. I didn't know that. Huh.
Yeah, his mom made those. And he would in the world of reality, you would see him do the kinds of things that most people do with uh, his life. And then he would go over into make believe. And one of the things that he did is he would let children know, boys and girls, when you saw me over there in the land of make believe and you heard a voice for the puppet, that was really my voice. And I think leaders who are transparent, who are honest, and who are kind, and we're all leaders. If you have a child in your life, you're a hero probably, and you're leading the family, or you're leading, the children. And so I think to remember some of those qualities that he had that he demonstrated on the show. The other cool thing too about Fred Rogers, I could geek out about him for the rest of your podcast, so I'm going to just say this
Do it.
one
I
thing
love it. We love Fred
and then be
Rogers.
done with it. So when we go to the Institute, Fred Rogers Institute, it's on the St. Vincent College campus, and it's in Latrobe, his hometown. And
And
that's
you might as
about
well
40.
mention the dates, right? July 8th and 9th.
Yes,
So let's get it all out there because I'm sure a
yes,
lot of people want to come. Certainly.
come to the conference. It's an
Yes.
amazing place to be inspired by other people in the helping professions. And so at so Fred Rogers Institute is on a college campus. It's 45 minutes from Pittsburgh. And what a lot of people might not know is Fred Rogers really used evidence-based practice before it was even in vogue. He collaborated with people at the University of Pittsburgh, which there were so many heavy hitters at that time at the University of Pittsburgh: Eric Erickson, Dr. Spock. Um, uh, I'm drawing a blank, but tons of people. And he worked really closely with Dr. McFarland, McFarland, who really gave him feedback on his scripts, helped him use the latest research and what we knew about child development, and infused that in the work that he was doing with children's media. His background is in music. He has a music degree from a small liberal arts college in Florida, in Orlando, Rollins College. And that's where he met his wife, Joanne. And one of the things, Amy, I'm super excited about is the dual, the pianos that they have.
Yes.
They have Fred's piano and Joanne's piano at the Institute. I can't wait to go see the piano. Anyway, but he used research in a way that was practical. When he would go in front of, the audience, he wasn't just making it up. He had a lot of people behind him supporting him, and he was very thoughtful about the way he did everything. He's just one of my heroes.
Well, you think about it, he was kind of the first, I don't know, first kind of Zoom class, at screen time kind of virtual teacher that we all had. And I mean, he always talked about, the big feelings and how it's okay. And, I think about that a lot. Like, I wish he was here today because, I'm sure it's okay as a child to have big feelings. But I think probably a lot of our teachers have big feelings on occasion in their classrooms too. And guess what? That's okay too, right? It's okay as an adult to have big feelings. And some of the strategies that you all are going to talk about on ways to manage that and ways to cope with that, and even just the recognition, which is kind of the initial step of it, I think is going to be super important. So I love it. No, I mean geek out all you want. That's phenomenal stuff that you guys are doing, right?
Well, and just reminding people to strip it back to those micro moments, because joy rarely lives in the lesson plans or any of those things that happen. It lives in the interactions. And so really concentrating on those daily interactions, the breakthrough moments or the daily greetings with your students or parents, coworkers, those are those micro moments of joy. And to really learn to appreciate those and not concentrate on the poor interaction that happened earlier and not letting that ruin your day.
Yeah, 100%, right? 100%. It's amazing stuff. I mean, yeah, you got to be able to recover. My 5-year-old came home the other day and she had a little diagram that they had drawn about is this a bump? Is this a hill or is this a mountain? Right. And just kind of like again in a 5-year-old mind framework, like, are we having a meltdown because of a little tiny bump? Or is this really a mountain that we're, stressing out over? Which was a good visual for her. It's really helped her, quite frankly. So, Amy, from your kind of state perspective, what's going on? Brag a little bit about the work you're doing at the Department of Education. What are you guys up to? Are you focused on, quality? You focused in on, teacher recruitment? What's kind of top of mind here at the DOE out in Wyoming nowadays?
There is a large scale focus right now on place-based education and prioritizing that and the connection to mental health and how that will improve the mental health of students and teachers. And so we have just recently, just as recent as 2 weeks ago, have rolled out a micro credential in place-based education. where we are
Wow.
elevating those educators that are interested in outdoor learning and place-based education and really elevating the connection between mental health for students and mental health for educators. And that's how we continue to just support as much as we can from the Department of Education standpoint.
That's great. Wow, kudos on some good work there. How are you doing as far as your licensing and all that? Are you guys holding pretty steady? Are you on the upcline, the decline? What's it look like in Wyoming nowadays?
Still on the upclimb. Still
Oh,
on the
good.
upclimb.
Good.
We're holding pretty strong still. We are really lucky in that aspect.
Awesome. And I gotta like brag a little bit about this Get Wild Wyoming. I don't know the data I saw. You can probably validate it, but inside of nearly 200 early childhood classrooms, is that true?
We're in over 300 classrooms, serving over 6,000 children in the state right now. What started out as just 5 classrooms grew to 10, grew to 20, and now over 350 classrooms in the states, currently participating in one way or another in outdoor learning. And so it just means that you are spending more time outside than your dedicated recess time, and reporting back and saying, hey, it's making an impact in my students in the following ways. It is really caught on, making a large scale difference in the lives of our students and our teachers.
Wow, that's phenomenal. Good job on that. That's great. And to have it coming from the state, like even gives it a little bit more of a, like a, hey, this is okay. This is acceptable. We want you to do this kind of
I,
stuff. So,
I think that's the large scale success, is that it was rolled out from the Department of Education, but we also partnered with licensing to make it happen, because a lot of times what happens in ECE and childcare is, oh, we can't do it because of licensing, right? And we don't want to get anybody in trouble with licensing. And we rolled it out in partnership with licensing. So once a site is a Get Wild Wyoming site, they have a certificate that goes up on the wall that says, we're getting wild. So if a licensor were to go on site and say, hey, why are they doing XYZ? They've been trained in it. The licensor knows, and it's been a full partnership with Department of Family Services and Department of Education.
oh, nice. I wish that happened in more places. Kudos for that. It's always a challenge. And whether it's real or perceived, that threat of, oh, I can't do this because of licensing, it's real,
Yep,
right? You hear it every day in the field. And, sometimes it's accurate. A lot of times, though, it's just made up, right? So
exactly.
that's good. And Marissa, I wanted to pick your brain a bit. I know, well, obviously, both of you are working kind of with our new young, early childhood workforce with students and with people just entering the field. What are you seeing out there? Any advice for people that are just getting into this field? How do we keep you in this field, right? What are eyes wide open? I know you talked about doing some practical experiences and really getting some boots on the ground experience, which I think is phenomenal. What are you seeing from our next generation that's coming into the workspace? Anything that you can reflect on?
Sure. One of the things that when Amy was talking about the amazing things that she and her team at the Wyoming Department of Education are doing is collaboration. And one of the ways that this looks with the things that we're doing here is we are a small state, so we really need each other. And if you're in a big state with lots of people, or medium size or small, we really do need each other. And I think the students that I'm seeing, they need cooperating professionals and fieldwork placements where they can see great models and give them ideas and inspiration and support them. Uh, and kind of getting back to this idea of collaboration, Amy and I are both on a state leadership team because one of the things we have here in Wyoming, and I think most states have it, is multi-tiered systems for early childhood education. And so the way that looks in the early years, if you're school age, you probably know what that looks like at the school district. But with young children, we also have tiered system. And so Amy from the Wyoming Department of Education, me from the university, and other people on our team have different disciplinary backgrounds and different roles in the workplace. But we all get together and we look at how do we support the workforce, either pre-service or in service, with different ways to support all the children. And so in that multi-tiered system that I was talking about, we have uh, the the universal tier that supports all the children. So it's some things that might happen for all the children might be developmental screening to check to make sure they're on track, support the families and the children with their development. How we design the environment would support all the children. So that's in the bottom tier and it's for everyone. That's universal. And then as children might need more things, we might work our way up the pyramid. So another example might be if a child's not responding to tier one supports, maybe they need a little extra. And so we could think about tier two ways that support children. It could be for something related to their development or their education. And then the top tier is for some children who might need individualized programs. And so maybe the child needs an early intervention program if it's an infant toddler, or maybe preschool, early childhood special education. And so having a multi-tiered system like this is really a wonderful way to think about all the children we're serving and to not overlook anyone or have any children fall through the cracks. It's a way to support workforce by infusing the tools to be able to serve all children.
I love it. I love it. And what words of advice would you have for somebody thinking about getting into early childhood education? I know you are probably working with the students all the time. So what do you tell them? Like, is this the path for you? Should you be in this field? What's it take to be successful? Don't get overwhelmed on your first day when you've got all the 2-year-olds, trying to beat you up, all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, well, field work and hands-on experiences really give students a way to know if this is a career for them. And I recommend as soon as they can to get started in any kind of opportunity that helps them be around children and families. It could be a summer camp where they're camp counselor for the summer. It could be working as a child life specialist in a hospital or volunteering where there's sick children. Or it could be the field work that's part of the coursework that we offer at our university. So those are the things that I would share with students if they're wondering if this is a career for them. And then another thing too is spend time in those places. Find out what people love about their job, what makes their job challenging. When I was early in my career, I was a new teacher and I had just gotten my teaching license and finished my coursework. And it was in the middle of the school year. It was in January. And so I applied to a whole bunch of different jobs and nobody was really hiring in the middle of the school year. So I was a substitute teacher. And then and I learned so much. And then I didn't get my full-time job that I was really hoping for in the fall. And so for a year and a half, this was in the 1990s in Washington State. And back then there was a surplus of jobs. Now we have the opposite problem. Now we have a shortage. We really need teachers badly. But back then there were lots and lots of teachers and it was not as easy to get a teaching job. It was very competitive. And so for a year, at first I was like, man, I'm so bummed. I didn't get a class. I wanted to be my own permanent classroom. But it was the best thing that ever happened to me because for a year and a half, I learned on the job training every single day because as a sub, you get a kindergarten class one day, and then the next day maybe I was high school PE, or another day math middle school. And so being a substitute teacher, I learned so much. And at first I was overwhelmed by the whole experience. And what I would do during the lunch hour is sit at the desk and look over the afternoon plans and prepare for the afternoon. But
Oh,
then
thank God. I thought she was going to say sit at the desk and cry. I'm glad you didn't go that route. That makes me feel better.
But what I was missing out on was being in the lunchroom with the other teachers. And so I shifted my mindset and I thought, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to sit at the desk by myself eating my peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I'm going to get in there into the lunchroom and find out, what anything I could learn from other teachers. And I think when you get acculturated to the profession, whatever it is, Andy, you were a firefighter, you're not going to learn about being a firefighter by reading a book. I mean, maybe
No.
some people will, but the way you're going to learn about being a firefighter is getting out there, being with other firefighters. And so when I switched and started going into the lunchroom, I learned so many things from my fellow teachers. And I'm so grateful for that opportunity now, because things like classroom management are really hard for brand new teachers. And I had a year and a half where I could practice all kinds of things and learn from other teachers. So anyway, those are some things I would share with someone thinking about coming into this profession.
And Amy, you've kind of made the jump from, gosh, classroom to leadership to now even, state level policy. What does that path kind of look like? And again, just kind of thinking about our students out there, there's a lot of different jobs and opportunity in the early childhood field that you may not even think about right now, but certainly you're a glowing example of kind of all sorts of different pathways you can take, right?
Correct, correct. I would always start in the classroom, because that is where all that information is grounded, rooted, exactly like Marisa just said. You don't know it until you do it. So get in the classroom, do it, and then you can go all these different pathways. You never know where your life will end up. I always thought I would just end up in a classroom for the rest of my life. And so you don't know where that path is going to lead you, but I would encourage everybody to get into a classroom first, though. Get those boots on the ground and really get the experience first.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, there's nothing more relatable than actually having the experience and being able to, say, "Hey, I've been there, I've done that, I know what I'm talking about," kind of stuff. And I'm happy to see, in a post-COVID world, we're starting to get back together again, which I think is super important because as much as we love Zoom, you don't get that kind of connection. You don't get those coffee chats. You don't get the lunchtime chats that you were just talking about, Marissa. And that's really how the exchange of information and the networking and the peer learning does happen. It's nice to sit in a session and, listen to someone read off the slides or whatever. But quite frankly, most of the time when I go to the conferences, I learn more at the breaks than I do in the sessions, right? So July 8th and 9th, Latrobe, Pennsylvania, a good example, right? You can see these two wonderful women speaking about, let me grab the title. All right, I've got it here. The Playful Heart, Preventing Burnout by Rediscovering the Joy of Learning Together. How about that? It's a good title. And then, of course, if you want to come down to Puerto Rico, gosh, we've got a great conference in April. It'll be April 12th through the 15th, 2027. So you got a whole year almost to get ready for it. But
Andy,
we'll
how would
have,
they find out about the Puerto Rico conference?
oh, we got a great website, headstarteast.org, headstarteast.org. So we have about 120 sessions. We got about 90 experts that fly down and hang out in Puerto Rico with you for the week. And I literally buy everybody pina coladas. Like, what's not to like about that, right? So come on down and have fun. But it's really these meaningful opportunities to get together and exchange information. And, I just can't say enough good things about the magic that happens when we are able to get around some adults and all that kind of good stuff. I like to do a little kind of rapid fire thing if you guys would entertain me for an extra couple minutes. Amy, what's on your playlist? What are we listening to? What kind of music are you into?
Oh, I live in Wyoming, so of course I listen to country music.
Well, I didn't want to stereotype, but I kind of figured that would happen, right?
I'm a
So,
huge Luke Combs fan, so it's
uh,
Luke Combs country music.
Luke Combs, okay, all right. And how about on your playlist, Marissa?
Well, polka. My
Polka. Well, I
family,
didn't see that
yes.
coming. Are you guys Polish? What's going on over there?
My parents are really into polka, and every winter our family goes on a polka cruise. And my daughter and I started playing pickleball this year, and in fact we were just there this morning playing pickleball. And we turn on we have this playlist, and we play polka while we're playing. I turn on the polka music while we're playing pickleball. So we're really into that.
That's amazing. All my relatives in Poland are applauding you right now. You can almost hear them all the way from Warsaw and in Poznan. Wow, that's amazing. Polka pickleball. I think that's a new trend we might have to start. Put that on TikTok or whatever they do, right? So Interesting. How about favorite early childhood book? Do you have a book or an author that you would recommend for teachers?
Ooh, I'm going to go with right now. I'm really into Last Child in the Woods
Okay.
and all things Anxious Generation. I just finished Anxious Generation, one of the best books I've ever read in my life.
I got to put that one on the list. I haven't seen that one yet. Good stuff.
It's so good, so good.
Huh. Was it Anxious Generation?
It's by Jonathan Haidt
Okay. All right.
or Haidt. I don't know how you say his last name, so I apologize if I just messed it up. But it's one of the best books I've ever read in my life, and it's talking about digital tech addiction.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, cool.
So
Yeah, I'll
good.
definitely check that one out. And Marissa, how about you? Favorite early childhood book?
Can it be a picture book?
Of course. Yeah, that qualifies.
I don't think we ever outgrow picture books. Um, I love the book On the Night You Were Born by Nancy Tillman.
Mm,
It has beautiful artwork. The story is beautiful, and it's just a sweet story
that's a good
celebrating
one.
each person and being born and being in this world. And I think the book just celebrates each person and being born. And it doesn't have to be a birthday where we celebrate someone being born, but it can be any time. And I just think we're so blessed with children in our lives. And I used to carpool with some people to work, and one of the people in my carpool gave it to me when I was pregnant with my daughter, and it's just one of my treasured books. The person wrote beautiful words on the inside, and then the book just makes me cry every time I read it because it just brings back great memories of when my daughter was a baby, but also it celebrates each person and how lucky we are that we're all on this planet together at this time and at this moment.
Yeah, good show. I got that somewhere on the bookshelf around. I'll have to track that down. Maybe that's tonight's bedtime story. Somehow, and I don't know where it came from, my kiddos discovered books from when I was a kid. And last night I got to read Mr. Invisible, which I don't know if you remember that whole like Mr. Messy, Mr. Invisible, like the whole series of like Misters and Misses, which I haven't seen for, I don't know, 40 some years, which was kind of crazy. I don't even know if they're still around, but yeah, I don't know. So that was kind of an interesting throwback, I thought. Speaking of books, Marissa has what, at least one book coming out soon, right? You want to brag about that?
Sure. Yeah. Uh, well, I have an edited book that I did with my colleagues, Emer Ring, who is a dean at the Mary Immaculate College in Limerick, Ireland. And our other colleague is Alessandra Landini, who she teaches at the University of Modena, Reggio Emilia, but she's also a principal of 5 schools in Reggio Emilia. And the three of us co-edited 2 volumes of uh, people that gave us chapters, submitted chapters, and they're part of the book. Well, it's 2 books actually. And so on June 11th, that's the International Day of Play, we're going to be having a celebration of the Reggio Emilia approach. Professor Peter Moss from University College London is going to do an opening. And then a teacher from Ireland who uses the Reggio Emilia approach is going to be sharing about her work and her class and how she uses Reggio Emilia in her class. And then we're going to share about all the different chapters. And the chapters are just so amazing. We had 47 authors write for
Wow.
the 2 books, and they're each chapter is so beautiful and unique all by itself. For example, there were 3 authors from Reggio Emilia who showed how to use this approach in prisons when children go visit their family members who are incarcerated. I mean, it was just such a powerful chapter. So that's an example of one type of a chapter. There's a chapter on using Reggio Emilia approach with children who are neurodivergent. Um, anyway, each chapter is so unique. So we're going to share what those chapters are, and it's about an hour. It's free to come. The uh, Dr. Emer Ring has uh, made a registration through Eventbrite, and so people can just follow the registration and come. So, and
Awesome.
it's on
Well,
the International Day of Play,
I love it. Well, we'll put
June
that link
11th.
in the show notes too, so people can check that out for sure. Well, I just say thank you so much for all the work that you're both doing. You're phenomenal individuals. Unfortunately, I'm going to be in Alaska when the Fred Rogers event's going on in July, so I'll be with our friends up in Alaska. But I wish I was in Pennsylvania with you guys. We'll have to figure out a time to connect and come out and do some fun stuff in Wyoming too. But thank you, thank you. If folks want to learn more about all the work you're doing at the Department of Education, Amy, just go to the DOE website, I'm guessing, huh? They got all your links, and Get Wild Wyoming got a link on the page and everything over there?
Correct. There is a link on the Department of Education's website, or you can find me on LinkedIn, and I'd be happy to support anybody who's wanting to go on an outdoor learning journey.
I love it. I love it. And Marisa, where can folks follow you and all the great work you're up to?
Yeah, and follow Amy because she has so many cool things that she posts almost every day about child development, about workforce wellness. I mean, it is a treasure trove of wonderful things that she has on LinkedIn that are really neat resources. For me, I'm on social media too, LinkedIn, Instagram, my University of Wyoming website, my college, I have a page. You can also find me on ResearchGate, and I have an ORCID number that has places where you can see what I've written and published. Also, Google Scholar, that's free. A lot of people who don't have access to a university or a way to get into a library through the university can follow through Google Scholar because that's free.
Awesome. Well, thank you again so much for being here. I appreciate it. Doing awesome work. Keep up the awesome work, and hope to run into you in person here in the near future. And of course, thank you to everybody listening. We hope you found this insightful. We hope that you find your joy. And certainly, if you need some more tips, check out that Fred Rogers conference in July. It's going to be a great time. And we're going to see. Hopefully, we can get Amy and Marisa down to Puerto Rico in April. I don't know. It might be a tough sell, but we're going to try our best to see if we can get them down. So,
And Andy, thank you for your Early Childhood Chats podcast, but also all the other ways you support early childhood workforce, your work with emergency preparedness and supporting families, children, and workforce with emergencies is so important. And
yeah.
thank you for everything that you do too, Andy.
Oh, you're well. It's my pleasure and my honor. I love working with everybody. I wonder, Amy, you said country music. Is Post Malone country music or no?
He's trying to make his way in the country.
Okay, all right. Because
We're warming up to it in Wyoming.
well, I don't know if I can break the news. By the time this comes out, it won't be breaking news. But I was involved in a two-part series on Sesame Street that'll be releasing very soon for hurricane season, and Post Malone happens to be our special guest on those two episodes. So if you like Post and you like, the Sesame Street Muppets,
I like Sesame Street,
it'll be a
so
good
Posty's
time,
in
right?
then.
You'll see. Yeah, it was interesting having him on set for sure, right? So, well, thank
Thanks
you,
so much,
everybody. I
Andy.
appreciate it.
Appreciate
I'm
you.
way over time. These girls have been so generous. Thank you, ladies, for sticking around. I've been, so long-winded with you today, but I appreciate all you're doing, and really look forward to staying connected with you and seeing you in the future. So, thank you so much, everybody.
Thanks.